بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا الأمين محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم ما أمسى بنا من نعمة أو بأحد من خلقك فمنك وحدك لا شريك لك فلك الحمد ولك الشكر. أمسينا على فطرة الإسلام وعلى كلمة الإخلاص وعلى دين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى ملة أبينا إبراهيم حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. اللهم ما أمسى بنا من نعمة أو بأحد من خلقك فمنك وحدك لا شريك لك فلك الحمد ولك الشكر. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن شاء الله تعالى نواصل الليلة الموضوع اللي بدأناه قبل أسابيع. We started over a month ago the issue of family, fiqh al-usra, the fiqh of the family law. And we mentioned that this journey starts from way before marriage. And then we talk about the process of marriage itself and what happens around the weddings, and then more importantly the marriage life, that inshallah ta'ala will take the bulk of our seminars in the near future inshallah ta'ala. Last time we covered أحكام المتعلقة بالخطبة، غطينا بعض الأمور المتعلقة بالخطبة وهي الأمور المتعلقة بأحكام التعارف. من يذكرنا اللي كانوا معانا في المرة اللي فاتت؟ من يذكرنا بالمواضيع اللي غطيناها في آخر مجلس؟ Anybody? Huh? It's been a while. بسم الله. تفضل. Yes, Jazakallah khair, Brother Ahmed. We asked or we discussed that there are certain things we are allowed to ask during al-khitbah or al-khutuba, engagement period. There are certain things we need to ask, how to ask. We mentioned or we covered the consultation in marriage. We spoke about al-istikhara, prayer to marriage. We covered the importance of having background checking before committing. We mentioned what is the average time that a person should take in this process of getting to know somebody for the sake of marriage. What is too little, what is too much. So we covered a number of issues. I would like today to resume from where we left. كان آخر موضوع تكلمنا عنه هو الضوابط الشرعية في التعارف. There are Islamic principles that must be observed while you are getting to know somebody for the sake of marriage. This is where we left last time. And we mentioned there are 4 guidelines. يلا اللي يجيبهم منا يعني واحد كان مركز. If you remember them, then if you were here anyway. There were 4 guidelines في 4 ضوابط شرعية that must be observed in getting to know somebody for the sake of marriage. We said there are 4 guidelines. What are they? أي واحد يعطونا يا سيدي واحدة. 1 2 نعم. الدين of course, the criteria perhaps. يعني beauty versus deen, akhlaq versus deen. But I'm talking about guidelines, meaning if you are getting to know somebody, what are the Islamic guidelines that govern this process? Wali is a condition of marriage. نعم. Okay, let me refresh your information. The first one, we said to be allowed to talk to somebody who is, if إذا بدك تتكلم مع واحد ولا مع واحدة، الأصل هي الحرمة. The default, it is not allowed to talk to somebody because that's flirting, it's haram. What makes it halal is the first is your sincere, genuine intention that you want to get married. That's the first condition. The first condition is that you are genuinely, sincerely wanting to get married. أول شرط هو الصدق في قصد الزواج. هذا هو أول شرط. The second is عدم الخلوة. Remember now? The second condition is you cannot be alone in this process. You cannot be under any circumstances in seclusion. Whether this is a physical, real life seclusion, and online seclusion also is considered khalwa. If you keep texting each other and throughout the night and without need, this is considered also khalwa. We'll talk about it in a moment, inshallah ta'ala. So to get to know somebody, there must be the presence of al-wali, sister mentioned, right? And it can be in the girl's house, it could be somewhere else. ولكن لا يجوز الخلوة. Number 3, ستر العورة. The lady, and also for the man, you must be, because you are still ajanib. You are still strangers for each other. فستر العورة واجب. وإحنا تكلمنا عن العورة. ما هي العورة بالنسبة أثناء الخطبة؟ ما هي عورة المرأة أثناء الخطبة؟ What is the عورة أثناء الخطبة؟ Yes. هي نفس العورة في أي وقت. هل في أي رأي آخر؟ رأي لسيدنا أحمد بن حنبل، ولكنه مستدل بحديث جابر. سيدنا أحمد استدل بحديث جابر that you are allowed to see a lady. If you are genuinely seeking khutbah, you are allowed to see a lady without hijab. What does it mean without hijab? Which means in a manner that her maharim can see her. Who are her maharim? Father, siblings, uncles, nephews, grandfather, which means seeing the hair, a little bit of the neck, and this. And we said that you need to respect the culture. If there is urf, if there is a custom in your locality, then العرف محكم. اتفقت المذاهب الأربعة على أن العرف إذا لم يخالف الشريعة محكم. فقلنا مع أن اختلاف المذاهب في قضية العورة، جمهور العلماء من الحنفية والمالكية والشافعية على وجوب الحجاب أثناء الخطبة. That hijab is an obligation even during the khutbah. Imam Ahmad said no, but if you are in a certain society or community where there is a particular custom and urf, so you have to observe and respect that urf regardless of what is your personal opinion, unless if you and the family of the girl agree otherwise based on fiqhi conviction, not اتباع الهوى. لكن هذه كلها تكلمنا فيها في المرة اللي فاتت. Now, آخر ضابط شرعي تكلمنا فيه هو قدر الحاجة، وهذا مهم جدا، وهذا اللي يفصل بين العبث وبين الشريعة الإسلامية. نحن نعيش في مجتمع عندنا what we call it dating, the culture of dating. So people before marriage, they go out, they talk, they chat, they do this, they do that. And we know that this is not Islamic as Muslims. But there is now something coming among so many Muslim communities which is almost Islamic dating. So you will find a girl and a boy talking for several months and basically doing so much of what non-Muslims do, probably without intimacy. I hope every Muslim knows how this is haram. But they go out, they go to coffee shop, they go to food place, they walk together in college campuses and so on and so forth. And the ruling of that is obvious that's not halal and that's not Islamic. And not only this, even the period of time. احنا تكلمنا عن قضية قدر الحاجة. If there is a particular time and number of meetings required for you to know your potential spouse, you are only allowed to talk or visit in accordance to the need, as much as there is a need. And this is also, there is no exact science by which we can control that. Number one, al-urf, you have to consider al-urf. And number two, it's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if that requires 3 visitations, more, less, couple months, 3 months, little less, if it depending if this is a family member, it's not a family member, do you know the family, you don't know the family, but there are limitations in what you can do. And what applies to real life applies to online communication, right? Going out alone is not allowed, flirting online also is not allowed, right? And especially if the boundaries are not respected. So you have to understand that Islam gave a room for you as a brother, for you as a sister, to get to know somebody for marriage. And we'd like to make sure that before you commit to marriage, you know what you are signing up for. You are assuring the compatibility, that this person is compatible, suitable to you as a spouse. Physically, you are attracted to them. You ask the necessary questions. You see their needs, what they would like in life. You agreed on this, inshallah ta'ala, commitment. And if it takes couple months, that's it. So some people keep flirting for 1 year, for 18 months, for 2 years, and of course this is not based on Islamic guidelines. طبعا there is something we would like to understand, which is تشخيص الواقع. شو يعني تشخيص الواقع؟ يعني من ناحية نعم لا من ناحية شرعية, from Islamic perspective, there are 2 stages in marriage. There is engagement and there is marriage. From Islamic perspective, في مرحلة الخطوبة وفي الزواج. So الخطوبة لها أحكام, and there are principles in Islam that govern this period of khutubah. We mentioned these 4 principles. And also the final principle, it is not binding. Al-khutubah is not binding. So there is no commitment. There is a common understanding that I am visiting, I'm trying to know you, you are trying to know me, you are asking about my family, I am asking, we are figuring out our compatibility, and so on and so forth. Al-khutubah إذن ليست ملزمة. It is not binding. And once a nikah contract is done, this is what zawaj is. لكن خلونا نسقط التعاليم الإسلامية على الواقع, وهذا يختلف من ثقافة إلى ثقافة. It varies from society to society. For example, me coming from North Africa, we have rituals and customs and ways of doing things أثناء الخطوبة different from the Middle East. المشارقة عندهم طريقة تختلف عن المغاربة. المسلمين في الهند تختلف عن المشرق. المسلمين في ماليزيا وإندونيسيا تختلف عن المسلمين في شمال إفريقيا وهكذا. فخلونا نسقط هذه المفاهيم على الواقع. فأنتم عندكم في المشرق الإسلامي في فلسطين وبلاد الشام عندكم مراحل في أثناء الخطبة. فمين يعطينا هذه المراحل؟ المرحلة الأولى في الخطبة شو يسموها أبو القعقاع؟ أيوة الأم تروح تشوف البنت، لكن شو تسموها؟ هل عندها اسم معين؟ النظرة الشرعية هكذا تسموها في فلسطين؟ شو، خليني أسألكم سؤال. في المشرق في فلسطين مثلا، شو الفرق بين الفاتحة وفي الحق؟ هذا شو تسموه؟ لا، في حاجة اسمها حق ولا
فصل الحق.
فصل الحق هذه في سوريا؟
على المقدم والمتأخر.
لا، هذا شيء آخر. أنتم عندكم، أنا صلحني إذا أنا مخطئ، لأنه حتى نسقط الأحكام الفقهية على هذه المراحل. أنتم عندكم based on what I understand from your culture, Palestinians, perhaps this is different from other places, that you go and you are visiting somebody, or your parents or your mother go to see the girl, and then there will come a time where you shake hands, but there is no كتب كتاب. What do you call these shaking hands? الطلبة. شو الفرق بين قراءة الفاتحة هي الطلبة؟ قراءة الفاتحة هي الطلبة، يعني where people shake hands ويقرؤون الفاتحة. اوكي، لكن ما فيش زوجتك ابنتي وكذا وكذا، لا، ما فيش زوجتك. هذا المرحلة من ناحية شرعية اللي تسموها الطلبة أو قراءة الفاتحة. في تسمية أخرى في ثقافات أخرى، شو تسموها؟ خطبة. أيوة، في تسميات أخرى. Do you call it something else in your culture? Okay. فهذه كلها ما قبل النكاح الشرعي. شو هو النكاح الشرعي؟ شو هو؟ اللي هو كتب الكتاب، اللي هو the day where usually the imam is brought. By the way, the imam is not necessary. Yeah, it's not a requirement for the imam to be there. It can be done without the imam. But it is جرت عادة الناس. It is a common practice among people to bring the imam to verify that all the requirements of marriage are fulfilled. Because so as if you are bringing the person of knowledge to verify. تفضل.
Don't you usually somebody from the masjid at least who knows how to write the paperwork?
All these are not required for the validity of the nikah. The nikah is valid basically by verbal commitment. Without any writing. This is extra measures to protect people's rights, but that's not required. Let's say we get married without writing any document.
Even with the mahar agreed upon?
Even with the mahar agreed upon. As long as we have, it is very, very important to do it. It's highly recommended to do it. But does not nullify the nikah if you don't do it. واضح? But let's go back to anything in your culture, anything in your ثقافة, that before كتب الكتاب, before the guy is asking the father of the girl, give me your daughter based on the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on and so forth, and the father would say, I gave you my daughter so and so in accordance to based on the mahar agreed upon, based on the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on and so forth. All the steps and the visits and the events and the rituals and the طقوس, all these في الشريعة الإسلامية تحت مظلة الخطوبة. All this is خطوبة. Whether you call it طلبة, whether you call it قراءة الفاتحة, whether you call it whether you have different stages for it, it is called خطوبة. مثلا, after you go and shake hands with the father of the girl, are you allowed to go out together? No. Why? Because you are still strangers. You are still not a husband and wife. However, this is a process. People perhaps in some countries do it. Okay, now these families approaching this family, they are talking about marriage. But even if you break that, it doesn't require anything. There is no commitment. There is no legal implications. So the only moment where you are committed to each other is by what we call it كتب الكتاب اللي هو العقد الشرعي أو النكاح. واضح؟ واللي سنتكلم عنه بتفصيل. We are going to talk about it in more details إن شاء الله تعالى. So I just would like you to know the cultural, they are in some cultures they call this period different ways. مثلا أنتوا تقولوا شوفوا أنتوا في المشرق تقولوا قراءة الفاتحة. احنا في الجزائر وفي الشمال افريقيا بشكل عام المغرب الجزائر وتونس احنا بالنسبه لنا فاتحه قراءه الفاتحه هي العقد الشرعي. We read الفاتحه the day we do النكاح. So if you tell an Algerian or Moroccan or Tunisian قرأنا الفاتحه يعني خلاص يعني وقع الفأس على الرأس. واضح؟ It's over. تفضل.
More commonly now,
Mm-hmm.
inshallah, I think this is a good thing. In efforts to be more in line with the deen, many people are doing the Kitab in the same day as they read the Fatiha. So I think it's becoming like the Algerian way.
I see.
But they still don't have the actual, they don't have the ceremony, wedding ceremony for several months later, right?
That's fine.
So are you, but at that point, are you,
Yes.
you can now be together?
Now that's a very good question. After you do كتب الكتاب, this is a very common question in Algeria.
And a few other people at least, yeah.
It doesn't have to, but let me ask a question. After كتب الكتاب, خلاص, you go, there is an imam, there are witnesses, mahar agreed upon, زوجني ابنتك, زوجتك ابنتي, give me your daughter, I gave you my daughter, all the conditions of marriage are met. But the ceremony, the wedding ceremony will be planned, let's say in 2 months, 3 months, whatever. During this period, are you husband and wife? What do you think? Why not? أيوة. هنا شرعا Islamically you are husband and wife. Islamically. بعد كتب الكتاب. ولكن but depending on the culture. For example, in Algeria and North Africa, you are not allowed to be intimate. You can visit my sister in the house as much as you want. Also, some regions in Algeria, they allow them to go out with each other. Very rare, this is recently, very recently. Usually they don't. So if the culture is you don't move together until after the ceremony, then you have to respect the culture, the custom. Even though Islamically you are husband and wife. But if the culture is until you have the ceremony, then you have to respect the culture. Why? Because we would like to protect the reputation of each other. You don't want this lady to be, her reputation to be in a way touched because she's seen going out with a guy and people didn't know about the ceremony, right? Perhaps in Kitb al-Kitab, few people were there, but the society, the extended family, they were not there. If you have any question, please, I will answer the questions. This is, what is this?
It's Sildo.
Huh?
It's Sildo. You look up the account, the
Okay.
website.
Yeah.
The website is called Sildo.
Sildo. Okay.
You put in the code.
Go to Sildo, put the code and submit your questions, inshallah ta'ala. I will be answering your questions. سلايدو. أنا قلت اللي قالت لي مش ذنبي أنا. أوكي. إذا تكلمنا عن Okay, so we spoke about كتب الكتاب and the difference between قراءة الفاتحة, الخطوبة أو الخطبة أو الطلبة أو الطلبة, whatever you call it in your culture, And we mentioned all these governed by ahkam of engagement in Islam, pre-marital rulings. Pre-marital ruling, which means seclusion, al-khalwa is haram, satr al-awra is wajib, in accordance to the need, you can only visit in accordance to the need, you can only talk in accordance to the need, and also you have to be sincerely, genuinely seeking marriage. These are the principles that govern this period of time. Now, تفضل.
كانت الكلتشر بالعاده لا تسمح ببعض الامور يعني كثير من شبابنا يجوا في امريكا يروحوا يتجوزوا بنات من البلاد
ايوه
يكون الشاب هون عندهم مرتبط he wants to see مثلا افترض حبه شعر
حب
الكلتشر
شعر البنت اوكي
يكون عندهم في الكلتشر في البلد انه لا الا لما تكتب can he ask for these particular things and how to judge?
Yeah, so the question, Brother Ahmed, is if a person goes to a particular community or society where they are more conservative, they are strict in certain practices. For example, a person he's open, or he adopts a particular opinion about ahkam al-khitbah, that he is allowed to see a lady uncovering her hijab, but where he is going, they are not. The question is, can he ask? Technically, he can ask, but the question, the answer is, what is wise from fiqh perspective, from purely fiqh perspective, he can ask, because he doesn't believe he's doing something haram. If this is his opinion. If he believes, let's say he's Hanbali, or he heard scholar saying that, or he heard alim saying that technically he can ask that. Now, what is wise is it wise for him to do that? يقول الإمام القرافي رحمه الله عن أحكام الخطبة، يقول: وأول ما يتعلمه الخطيب هو معرفة ثقافة المخطوبة. يعني the first step, you as a person proposing, you need to understand the culture of the family, the people that you are proposing to. So if that is something for them is insulting, or this is something for them is a red line, that is not wise. Technically you can ask, but it could backfire. So you have to find a way, but technically you can ask. Now, is it wise or it is not wise? You have to read your audience, you have to investigate, you have to see what's possible and what's not possible. Yeah, but technically from fiqh perspective, yes, you can ask. And the people, they have the right to reject. If they have an opinion that's not our culture, they have the right to reject, say, no, sorry, we cannot do that. The next point is, we call it الخطبة على الخطبة. هذه مهمة جدا وفيها خلط كبير. الخطبة على الخطبة، شو معنى الخطبة على الخطبة؟ إذا بنت خطبت, if a lady, if somebody proposed to her, somebody is talking to her, somebody is talking to her family, are you, as a man, are you allowed to go and propose while somebody else is proposing, while somebody else is talking to her, or is talking about her, or is talking to her family? النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: المؤمن أخو المؤمن لا يظلمه ولا يحقره. وفي حديث طويل: ومما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم: ولا يبع بعضكم على بيع بعض ولا يخطب بعضكم على خطبة بعض. فنهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الخطبة على الخطبة. وحكمة النهي والتحريم هي قضية الأخوة والعداوة. يعني the Islamic purpose of not allowing this is about brotherhood and sisterhood. Because if you go propose to somebody and already your brother is talking to her, that will create adawa, shahna, baghda. And perhaps you are more handsome than this person, perhaps you are more wealthy than this person, perhaps you have a better reputation in the community than this person, and perhaps you ruin that opportunity for your brother. Hadn't been for you interfering, perhaps this family could have accepted the offer from your brother, and you going, you have ruined that opportunity to your brother. This is where the Islamic perspective. Now, there are three scenarios for us to answer this question. What is halal, what's haram? أن تكون الخطبة قبلت. الحالة الثانية أن تكون الخطبة رفضت. والحالة الثالثة لا قبلت ولا رفضت. So the first scenario, that people have accepted your proposal. For example, I went to this family, I proposed to them, and they have accepted. Now we are talking, we didn't do Kitb al-Kitab yet, but we are on board, right? They like me, I like them. We are figuring out perhaps the details of the marriage. So this is one scenario. And this is unanimously among all madhahib, that it is prohibited for you knowingly. If you don't know, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. But knowingly, you go and propose at this stage, it is unanimously prohibited. This is because of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, if the proposal was rejected, مثلا واحد صار له يخطب بنت منذ كان عمرها 14 سنة في الهاي سكول، كازن في الكولج يخطب، وعائلتها رفضت وهي رفضت وما زال يخطب وما زال يخطب وما زال يخطب، وانت عارف ممكن لأنه هذا your cousin ولا extended family. He keeps trying and they keep rejecting you. It's not prohibited for you to go and propose. He might be upset. It's okay for him to be upset, but they rejected. It's not me. It's they rejected you. That's been going on for probably several years, and they said no, and you keep going, and they said no, you keep going, they said no. If you know that his khitbah has been rejected, أنه هذا الولد هذا الرجل رفض، فيجوز لك أن تتقدم لخطبة البنت. يجوز لك أن تتقدم لخطبة البنت. الحالة الثالثة وهي الشائكة، if there is no answer. The third scenario where there is no answer. Somebody proposed to a lady, they are talking, but there is no acceptance and there is no denial. They are talking. Can you propose during this stage? لا ليش؟ ما جاش رد. اوكي، في جواب مختلف. نعم احمد. disliked يعني مكروه. ليش احمد؟ cause conflict ولكن مش حرام. حتى نجيب على هذا السؤال. For me to answer this question, or for us to answer this question, let's make it a little more, or ask another layer of the question for us to understand the depth of this issue. هل يجوز للمرأة أن, let me ask the question in English first. Can a lady entertain more than one khatib at the same time? Meaning talking to more than one person at the time. Talking, not necessarily flirting, talking within Islamic guidelines. Talking, which means considering, asking this person without this person knowing about the other person necessarily, right? Somebody came propose to me, let's say this is a lady, somebody came propose to her, and we are talking about his education, assessing his religiosity, the family, the background, and let's say 4, 5, 6 weeks, somebody else came and proposed. And is she allowed also to do the same thing in the same time? 2, 3 times, probably 3 people in the same time. نعم يجوز ليش؟ business standpoint. Would like to know her options. نعم. نعم. معليش معها أو مع أهلها احنا ما اختلفنا. هو يتواصل مع أهلها ويتواصل، لكن لما يتواصل مع أهلها راح يجي للبيت ويتكلم معاها، وممكن يلتقوا لقاءين أو 3 في البيت بحضور أهلها. لكن لنفترض مثلا أنا وبنتي، أنا عندي بنت إن شاء الله، الله يرزقني بنت، ما عندي بنت إن شاء الله صالحة. أي لنفترض أنا عندي بنت وجاء واحد يخطبها، جاء أحمد يخطبها، واضح؟ وأحمد جاء يخطبها، في فترة أحمد جاء خالد أيضا، وأنا I allowed Ahmed to come، لكن in 2-3 weeks خالد didn't know about أحمد وقال لي والله بدي أخطب بنتك. نقول له تعال أهلا وسهلا، و I allow both of them to come and talk to her. Can I do that? I gave her options. أنا أسأل من ناحية فقهية يا جماعة from Islamic perspective. Yes.
The first one to get an appointment, so a couple of times, and then the second family came to see the same girl. There's no commitment yet. I think they can.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can't just play with them.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then we decide at the end.
Exactly. تفضلي. You want to say something? تفضل. نعم.
From the story of Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah, yes. As long as the khutbah was not established.
الله يرضى عليك. خليني أعطيكم دليل آخر اللي يساعدنا على فهم القضية. جاءت زينب اللي صارت فيما بعد أم المؤمنين، زينب بنت جحش. لكن في هذا الوقت at this stage she was not married to رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم yet. She came to النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم counseling him, asking his opinion. She said, يا رسول الله, 2 people came propose to me. The first one is Muawiyah. The second one is Abu Sufyan. He said صلى الله عليه وسلم أما معاوية فهو صعلوك. Be careful, Muawiyah is خلينا نضعها بطريقة محترمة. He's not responsible. He's not reliable. Don't marry معاوية. He's not reliable. أما مش أبو سفيان، استغفر الله، أنا قلت القصة المرة اللي فاتت، مين ذكرها؟ So 2 people proposed to Sayyida Zainab, معاوية والله I forgot. Is it Abu Sufyan? We can verify that. لكن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال وأما فلان, as for the second one, فلا يضع العصا من عنقه. He is abusive. He's violent. What did the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell her? Inkahi Zayd. So in this stage, 2 people proposed to Zainab, Muawiyah and perhaps Abu Sufyan. لعله أبو سفيان نسيت اسمه. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, neither one of them is good for you. Muawiyah صعلوك. He's not reliable. He's not a family man. At this moment, he was not yet stable, still la'ab. And the second guy, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, لا يضع العصا من عنقه. يعني يضرب النساء. يعني في شكاوى. He has a records. He has a pattern of women complaining about. And هذا من أمانة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. هذا من أمانة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال لا تنكحي. Don't marry neither one of them. What did he say صلى الله عليه وسلم? انكحي زيد. فهذا الحديث يدل على أنه يجوز للمرأة أن يتقدم لها أكثر من خاطب في نفس الوقت. It is okay, it is allowed for a lady to entertain more than one khatib in the same time. Not khatib الجمعة. خطيب الخطوبة, more than one, and this is your personal preference. You don't have to, but Islamically there is nothing wrong, and you have your options. Why do you like to limit yourself? Now you'd like to marry. Let me see who else. I'm talking to you. Alhamdulillah, you seems nice, educated, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks in talking to this guy, somebody else came. You are not playing with this guy. You are not going out. This is why Islam is a very pragmatic religion. You are not flirting. You are not emotionally invested. You are not going out. You are not sending love messages to each other. You are just considering, talking about this guy. And then 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, before you make up your mind, somebody else came. That's fine. That's fine. And don't feel guilty about it as if you are betraying him. And on the other hand, you as a guy, you can do the same thing. But it is most likely for guys to be abusive, to be playing, than girls, because you are in the position of initiating the process. The girl most of the time is at the receiving end of the proposal. You are at the giving end of the proposal. You can explore more than one option in the same time, but you have to be sadiq with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And subhanallah, I was debating this with one of the shuyukh. I was not convinced with this when I was getting married. I was naive at that time. But one of my shuyukh says, one of the benefits of you considering more than one individual in the same time, that you are not emotionally invested. If there is only one person, you are most likely in a very short period of time to fall emotionally. But when you are dealing with this project objectively, and you are seeing the compatibility, the religiosity, the similarities, the challenges, the family dynamics, the choices of life, and before you get emotionally attached, so it is not wrong to consider more than one person at the same time. تفضلي. That's the downside of it. When I was debating with this sheikh, this is what I told him. I told him sometimes too many options will cause confusion, right? But this is why Islam doesn't tell you neither do it or don't do it. It is allowed, but you as a lady, if you think you don't want to do that, you would like to entertain one proposal at the time, let me give this family my genuine consideration. I don't want, if somebody else comes and said, not yet. You don't have to tell we are talking to somebody else. Don't answer. Don't answer for a month or so until you make up your mind. You are allowed to do that, not to be in that position, which is confusion. But I see what you are referring to. That's very possible, because if you are talking to more than one person at the same time, you might be confused. But somebody might argue, but I have more options. Probably this person is more religious, is more committed, is more a family man. So depending, different people look at it from different perspectives. And alhamdulillah, fi dinina muttasa'. Whatever, probably case by case. In some cases, it is better to do it. Some cases, better not to do it. So, lakin it is not haram. That's to keep in mind. It's not haram. More than this, because we live in a time, this is looked at, it's reckless. It's it's very bad. Like, how can you talk to more than one? Why? Because people, it's more romantic, movie style engagement. No. Engaging is not love. Engaging is considering this person, genuinely considering. Right? It's not a romantic story. Now. Yes. No, if you accept the offer, you are not allowed to do that. Now, if I am negotiating with you, Ahmed, to sell you the phone, okay, khalas, how much you give me for this? By the way, I'm intending to get rid of it anyway. 1,000? Okay, give me. Take it right. But let's say we are negotiating and then we say, khalas, $200. And you proposed 100, I said 300, middle ground. Okay, give me $200. Deal. Let me transfer my information. Tomorrow come take it. She comes and says $250. Can I give it to her? Khalas. Similarly, marriage is not phone. But المسلمون عند شروطهم. Khalas. If you gave your word, khalas, you cannot entertain somebody else. Unless if you change your mind. You accept and then something happens that you don't like. Something brought your knowledge that about the family, about the guy, about the girl, about some knowledge that made you rethink your decision. That's fine. That's fine. Even because you are allowed to entertain more than one proposal in the same time, that will help us answer the question of what is the hukum of proposing to a lady, to a girl, that somebody else has proposed to her, but they did not accept, nor they rejected this proposal. This is where the tricky part. This is where there is debate and the disagreement among the ulama. The first two unanimously agreed upon. The third one where it is a gray area. Is this considered you are ruining the opportunity for your brother? Because they are still considering, they are still thinking about it? I would say yes. I would be very cautious, very careful not to do this. That looks somehow betrayal. It looks somehow hurting your brother. So if I am talking to a lady and considering her for marriage, and the family and the girl, they are considering me, they didn't say yes yet, but are considering me, I would be deeply hurt if you know that I am talking to them and go do it. I will be hurt. And Islam came to protect our brotherhood and our hearts and avoid any opportunities that might create animosity and adawa and baghda and shahna. And this definitely does create. So this is why we have to be careful. Now if you don't know, إذا مش عارف إذا أنت مش عارف إنه somebody came to this lady, خلاص أنت مش مسؤول عن هذا. You didn't do it deliberately. تفضل أخي.
So if someone came for khutbah for like a certain girl, they accepted it and now they're in that state of approval. But then she finds out that there's someone who was intending to propose. He did not do anything. So she decides to cancel it so that the other person can come to khutbah. Is that allowed for her?
أنا ما فهمت السؤال. ممكن تعيد السؤال؟
So she's already at the state of khutbah.
Okay.
And then she gets to know that someone else wants to propose to her.
Okay.
And she would, for some reason, she prefers the other person.
The second.
Yeah.
Okay.
She did not do anything. But she decides to cancel the first one so that it's, for example, like the other one is free now to propose.
Yeah, if she chooses to do so, that's fine. Yeah. If they didn't give commitment, that's fine. Yeah. It's not haram. It might break the heart of the first person, but if the second person didn't do it deliberately, doesn't know what was happening, that لا حرج في ذلك. Now, we are still talking about premarital rulings. نتكلم, we'd like to talk next about خاتم الخطوبة. شو تسموها أنتم؟ الدبكة؟ الدبلة؟ الدبلة with L, دبلة. أيوة. Ring engagement, right? The ring engagement. Is it halal? الدبكة is it halal? جايين للدبكة إن شاء الله. شو رأيكم؟ خاتم الخطوبة جائز ولا؟ لكن سياق الحديث مختلف عن المهر. هذا الحديث عن المهر. أنتوا تعطوا خاتم الدبلة مع المهر؟ احنا في الجزائر يختلف. احنا نجيب هذا الخاتم أثناء الخطوبة، ونجيب ونقعد نجيب، حياتنا كلنا نجيب احنا. The moment we go خطوبة we keep giving. We never stop, right? لكن the ring engagement, before we talk about whether it is part of الخطوبة or no, let's talk about the culture, the background of this practice. Is it halal? Who knows what's the background of this? Who knows the background? تفضلي دعاء.
It goes with the Christians of the Trinity. Talk about the Holy Spirit, forgot the other ones.
Yeah.
You put the ring on the ring finger.
Yes.
You put the ring like this, and then they go like this.
So this concept has a shirky religious background. يعني القضية الدبلة أو خاتم الخطوبة أصلها أصل مسيحي، عقيدة التثليث، عقيدة كفرية بالله سبحانه وتعالى. طبعا هذه قديمة، صار لها قرون من الزمن. المسيحيين اليوم they have no clue what they are doing. They have no clue that the origin of this, when Christians today or everybody in the world, it's become common across all nations and cultures, and they have no clue why they're doing. As a matter of fact, they say this is just showing that I am committed. So when I'm wearing this, I am telling people around me that don't mess up with me, I am married, right? Similarly, a lady when she's wearing a dabla or khatam al-khutuba, that I am taken, so don't approach me. So because the culture has changed, the original reason why that was established not any longer is the purpose. There is a debate. There is a very serious debate among the ulama whether this is halal or haram. يعني خاتم الخطوبة أو الدبلة هل هو جائز ولا غير جائز؟ فالطائفة الأولى من العلماء, the first group of ulama, they looked at the origin of that practice, and that was a Christian practice for a wrong reason, and they said it is prohibited. And they said even the culture has been changed, people no longer do it for that reason, but it is non-Muslim practice. Why we Muslims follow their footsteps? Why we imitate them? And you have other group of ulama who said, listen, yes, it was bad. We were not supposed to follow them in the first place. Now, since this became a global practice, not specific to Christians, not any particular group, not any particular religion, it is basically a sign of commitment and a ring of irtibat. They don't see it as a big deal. So some ulama prohibit this, and some ulama don't see it as a big deal. That is from the fiqh perspective. I myself don't like it, because I don't like it for a number of reasons. For the fiqh perspective, but number two, as if me as a Muslim, if I am not wearing this, let's say I'm not married, I'm not engaged. So if I am not wearing this, I am allowed to flirt and do haram. So is this what's going to protect me? Or my faith, my muraqabah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching over me? So it's my iman, my taqwa, my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what is stopping me from haram. Is not this piece of ring. But as I told you, there is a debate among the ulama, and you will find scholars who are very serious and particular about this, and they prohibit هذه الدبلة أو خاتم الخطوبة أو engagement ring. And you will find ulama who don't see it as a big deal, given that the culture has changed. طبعا العلماء الذين أجازوه, scholars who said it is okay, they also said obviously for women can be gold, but for men, yeah, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala حرم الذهب على الرجال. Is it considered part of the mahar? Now we are going to have another discussion. We'll start from khatam al-khutuba, the ring of engagement, and the gifts that are given throughout this period of time. From the moment of the ring engagement until the wedding day. Different cultures have different rituals and protocols. For example, in Algeria, the first visit we take certain things, the second visit we take other things, and then prior to the wedding we take certain things, and then the wedding day, Qira'at al-Fatiha, we do other things, we take other things. Now, different cultures have different practices. Is this considered part of the mahar, or this is not part of the mahar? Before you answer the question, why this question is important? Because if you stop that process at some point, are you going to return these gifts, هذه الهدايا سواء كان ذهب، مجوهرات، روائح، عطور، شوكولاتة، مش عارف ايش، ايا كان انواع الهدايا، هل راح تردها إذا فسخت الخطوبة ولا هي حق للمرأة، حق للبنت؟ هذا ينبني على هل هي جزء من المهر أو هي ليست جزء من المهر. هل هي جزء من المهر أو ليست جزء من المهر؟ فشو رأيكم؟ هل هذه الهدايا هي جزء من المهر ولا لا؟ If it's not gold, no. يعني if you give if you give her a house, if it's not gold, if you give her a car, not to that extent, but it's a gift. I know some people who they were very excited. They were very excited, they gave cars as gifts. Yeah? يعني الأخ أحمد يقول إذا كان يعتمد هل العقد تم ولا لا. إذا قبل العقد هي هدايا، إذا تم العقد هي جزء من العقد من المهر. نعم.
They can be in defense like يعني المهر يتحدد if it's specified with the matches. So if these things were specified to be part of the mahar, then they're part of the mahar. If they were brought just as gift, they're gifts.
Okay. العائد في هبته كالكلب، النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول يقيء ثم يعود في قيئه. طيب خلينا نجيب على هذا السؤال. أولا المعروف عرفا كالمشروط شرطا. المعروف عرفا كالمشروط شرطا. شو يعني المعروف عرفا كالمشروط شرطا؟ يعني إذا كان عرف سائد أن هذه الهدايا جزء من المهر فهذا هو العرف. إذا كان العرف أن هذه الهدايا ليست جزء من المهر فهي ليست كذلك، إلا إذا تحدد غير ذلك نصا أو كتابة. If there is a particular custom or practice in a community, in a society, where these gifts are part of the mahar, then these are part of the mahar. If this is the culture among people. If the culture, this is gifts, have nothing to do with the mahar, that is the culture. Because this is what people get used to. Unless you you say otherwise. For example, let's say I am proposing to Palestinian community and they consider these as gifts, not part of al-mahar. Just a random example. I come to this family, I said, I'm getting this, but this is part of the mahar. I say it. خلاص. لأنه كلامي يلغي العرف. Because I am explicit and my statements are above al-urf. They could say no, they can reject. They said no, these are gifts. We don't consider them urf. I could accept or reject. But if I said, and they were fine with it, I said this is part of al-mahar, and God forbid, after a couple months, al-khutuba did not happen, all this must be returned to me. Because it's part of al-mahar. If the urf, these are gifts, then I am not allowed to ask for it. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah عنده رأي وسط. These group of ulama who have a middle ground opinion. They said, if the urf is ambiguous, what is your urf, by the way, in Palestinian community? What is your urf? And هذا الهدايا اللي قبل الزواج, بعض المجوهرات, خاتم الخطوبة, مش عارف, كل ما يروح يزور يجيب كذا, يعني هذا تعتبرون عرفا جزء من المهر ولا لا؟ إذا صار فسخ بالعادة بيرجعوهم؟ ها؟ مش ضرورة دايما الأكل يكون من الهدايا تكون شوكولاتة أو أكل. أحيانا تكون nice significant things for the house, for decoration, for watch, a phone, iPhone 17. Instead of the actual item equivalent cash.
They're usually considered gifts, but I know some occasions where it ended up in a cassette and they returned everything, and if they couldn't, so they had a party and had food, so they returned everything in cash, and then the gifts they also returned. No, they're not part of the money. They end up returning.
Okay, let me give you middle ground regardless of what is your culture. If there is established culture, then go with the culture. If there is established culture. For example, in Algeria we don't have a clear culture. يعني احنا نجيب هدايا ولا واحد يسترجي يقول هذه جزء من المهر ولا لا. كل واحد يستحي في تلك الفترة. Everybody is shy at that time. Everybody is coming in a good faith. Nobody cares whether this is part of al-mahr or no. When things don't work, this is where people start rethinking through. But when there is excitement, nobody cares at that time. Consider this part of the mahr. So in Algeria, there is no established culture. It's ambiguous. It depends. Everybody thinks this. So the fatwa that I promote is, if there is no established culture, then it depends who nullifies al-khutuba. If the man is walking away from this khutuba, don't take anything, leave everything. If the girl is rejecting the man, return everything. This is fair? Do you think this is fair? So Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah قال لا يجمع الرفض والعطاء. Don't combine two calamities on this man. Reject him and then take away all what he has given, especially if it is significant. On the other hand, if you as a man walked away from a girl after talking to her several times, when you walk away, already there will be some bad feelings. Don't add to it asking the gifts back. You are going تزيد الطينة بالله مش بلة. فهذا هو الحل الوسط. الحل الوسط يعتمد مين اللي فسخ الخطوبة. اللي فسخ الخطوبة يترك الهدايا مع الطرف الآخر. نعم. معليش أنت لذلك النصيحة الأخرى، وأنا هذه أنصحها الشباب خصوصا، يعني أخواتنا إن شاء الله ما يزعلوا علي، ما تستعجل في كثرة الهدايا أثناء الخطوبة، ما تمد هدايا. It's not wise. أولا, you don't want to be in a position in the future where you would like to negotiate returning this. It's not a good position, number one. Number two, you have to be nice, gentleman, يعني you take nice gift, but not something of significant value, right? يعني هدايا بسيطة، يعني حتى ما يكون غدا إذا ما مشت الأمور تحس you are being played, you are being taken advantage of, and this is a negative feeling. No matter how rich or poor you are, there's always that feeling, right? So don't give. It's good, right? Yeah, I think this is very fair. لما الله سبحانه وتعالى يكتب شيء، لما اتفقنا وكذا، المهر الذي راح نتكلم الآن عن المهر إن شاء الله. أعطي المهر اللي بدك إياه، أعطي $1,000,000 إذا بدك، هذه زوجتك في المستقبل. لكن أنت you are just starting to ask about the girl, her religiosity, and the first video you give her iPhone 17. So the nikah date, what are you going to give her if you give her in the visits iPhone 17, right? I'm sorry, sisters, but this is called expectation management. If you from day one you set the bar high, then the expectation in the future will be unreasonable, and you cannot keep up with it. You cannot keep up with it, right? So you have to manage your expectations. There are certain things, sisters, also I will give you some tips, but this is for the brothers. In any case, don't give too much in this period of time. It's not wise, and it is not good position to negotiate later on. Oh, this is this or this. Nikah should be more honest and more smooth. It's not negotiating. It's not like business negotiation. This is for give الأمور عادية إن شاء الله. Something that if that doesn't work, you didn't feel bad about it. خير إن شاء الله صدقة. إذا ما مشى الأمور يعتبرها gift for a Muslim. You don't feel too bad about it. So you have to approach this as such. والله أعلم. الإمام الشافعي، أنتم شوافع بالمناسبة، الإمام الشافعي يقول ترد الهدايا دائما. الإمام الشافعي this is why you return them as Palestinians. Yes, هذا مذهب الشافعي. المذهب الشافعي هدايا الخطبة ترد، هدايا الخطبة ترد لأنها تعتبر جزء من المهر. هذا المذهب الشافعي. طيب الآن نتكلم عن المهر. إذا عندنا إن شاء الله نزيد 10 دقائق أو ربع ساعة ثم نأخذ الأسئلة. كان بنتكلم عن الولي، كان نتكلم عن منكرات الأعراس، لكن مش عارف إذا عندنا وقت لكل هذا. لكن المهر أو الصداق مشتق من الصدق. الصداق، المهر، الداوري مشتق من الصدق، فبالتالي الصداق هو علامة صدق الرجل أنه يريد الزواج. It is a symbolic gift and obligation by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a man to give women in this process of marriage as a sign of commitment and honesty, and they are genuinely seeking marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول في سورة النساء وآتوا النساء صدقاتهن نحلة فإن طبن لكم عن شيء منه نفسا فكلوه هنيئا مريئا. فهو واجب رباني وهو مذكور في القرآن الكريم. والصداق قد يكون عقار، قد يكون ذهب، قد يكون مجوهرات، قد يكون خدمة. Sadaq doesn't have to be money, it doesn't have to be cash. Could be property, could be car, could be service. Like I marry you, and the mahar of this lady, she asks Hajj, for example, to take me to Hajj, or to educate me, or to sponsor my college, or to teach me Quran, or So al-mahar could be anything that is halal. Doesn't have to be money, doesn't have to be cash, doesn't have to be, it could be property, it could be gold, it could be service, it could be, it doesn't even have to be service for herself. It could be even a service for her family. For example, let's say if this is coming from the lady, if the lady make her mahar that you are going to work for my father without a salary for 2 years in his business. This is my sadaq. That could be a sadaq. ونظير ذلك في القرآن موسى عليه السلام مع سيدنا شعيب قال إني أريد أن أنكحك إحدى ابنتي هاتين على أن تأجرني 8 حجج يعني 8 سنوات فإن أتممت 10 فمن عندك وما أريد أن أشق عليك ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. إذن الصداق قد يكون مال، قد يكون ذهب، قد يكون عقار، قد يكون سيارة، قد يكون خدمة. It could be service. So all this could be المهر. المهر صداق is deserved to the woman. It is not haq for her father, it is not haq for her siblings, it is not haq for the family, it is not haq for the parents. It is only haq for her. And it is haram for anybody, the husband, the parents, to take any penny without, not only permission, without طيبة نفس. Because sometimes there could be permission under pressure. طيبة نفس is way beyond than permission. So you cannot eat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, from the dowry of women without their طيبة نفس, without them being fully, willingly pleased with you spending of it. So this is something serious in our deen. So it is استحقاق للمرأة خاص. Now, تستحق المرأة الصداق كاملا in 2 cases. Women would be entitled to their sadaq in 2 scenarios. Or they will be entitled to their entire sadaq by 2 events. Like prior to these events, it is a promise. They are not entitled to it. And if they are given, they are to be returning it before one of these 2 events. The first event by which they are entitled to their full mahar is الدخول. Is الدخول. بمعنى when the husband and wife are physically intimate. The first time they are physically intimate, consummation of the marriage. By that moment, they are entitled to their full mahar. If the husband by then did not deliver al-mahar, becomes debt on him. That is the first event. The second event, the death of one of the 2 spouses. لي مثلا أنا راح أتزوج زوجتي، عملنا كتب الكتاب، لا قدر الله طلعت من المسجد going and a car accident and I die without giving her mahar yet. The moment I die without consuming the marriage, she is entitled to she's entitled to her mahar fully plus inheritance, 1/4 of my inheritance. Because the moment we did Kitb al-Kitab, she is my wife. So she is entitled to al-mahar and she is entitled to 1/4 of my inheritance because we don't have children. If I have children from another wife, she's entitled to what? She's entitled to what? 1/8 of my inheritance. نعم تفضل. لا الميراث ليس له علاقة بالدخول. الصداق له علاقة بالدخول. الصداق له علاقة بالدخول. أما الميراث ليس له علاقة بالدخول. المهر. الميراث لا. بمجرد تكتب الكتاب بمعنى husband and wife, she is entitled to your inheritance and you are entitled to her inheritance. Vice versa, if she dies, you must give her technically a sadaq, and the sadaq will be will be her property and will be inheritance. Or like if she has children, she has father, they will inherit the sadaq that you must give her. Of course, part of it will return to you because you are her husband. So you are going to take 1/4 or half of her inheritance. But the moment she dies, even without consuming the marriage, she is entitled, even as a deceased, she is entitled to her sadaq. And then الورثة يأخذون هذا الصدق. طبعا الزوج هو من الورثة. So, at what moment a lady is entitled to her sadaq, full sadaq? The first event is الدخول, which is consummation of marriage. And the second is death of one of the spouses, the death of them. So this is how they are entitled. Now, if a lady هذا حدث just not too long ago, I got this question. A person did a nikah, 3 days after Kitb al-Kitab changed his mind. And he already gave his sadaq, just a few weeks ago. He gave sadaq, but there was no consummation of marriage. They were not physically intimate. They did Kitb al-Kitab. They were planning for the wedding ceremony, and 3 days after, he changed his mind. He said, I thought about it, and I don't think I made the right decision. Now, she is entitled to half of the mahar. If the husband changed his mind before consuming the nikah, the lady is entitled to half of the mahar. When we say the mahar, muqaddam and muakhar, she's entitled to half of everything. Right? At that time, I think the muqaddam was 7,000 and the muakhar was probably 20,000. 7,000 plus 20,000, 27,000 times divided by 2. So that was her haqq. If he changed his mind 3 days earlier, she was not entitled to anything. Kitb al-Kitab. The moment you do Kitb al-Kitab, and then the husband changed his mind, because the moment you do Kitb al-Kitab, you are husband and wife. You didn't consume the marriage, right? If the husband changed his mind, then you are, as a girl, entitled to half of it, unless you let go. It's like, I don't need, thank you so much. You are not interested in me, I'm not interested in you, I'm not interested in your money. Thank you. Okay, now, if the rejection or the lady changed her mind, she's not entitled to anything. Okay? If he changes his mind, she's entitled to half of the mahar. If she changes her mind after Kitb al-Kitab, before consuming the nikah, then she is not entitled. She must return to him everything if she already have received it. And if she did not receive it, then khalas, he doesn't have to give her anything. Is that clear? No.
Let's say he didn't give the mahar, she doesn't return it, or vice versa. He didn't give the mahar, and he's the one that ended it.
Say it again.
If she already received the mahar, and she's the one that's
She is walking away.
yeah, and if she doesn't return it.
What do you mean she does? She's disobedient to Allah. Yeah, I know as well. It's haram. It's haram. It's sin. It's suht. It's mal haram. It's like they are stealing money. Unless if he says, kick it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ, this is Surah Al-Baqarah. وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ مِن قَبْلِ أَن تَمَسُّوهُنَّ وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ إِلَّا أَن يَعْفُونَ أَوْ يَعْفُوَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ عُقْدَةُ النِّكَاحِ وَأَن تَعْفُوا أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى. Unless if he forgives or you forgive. If you say, for example, I don't need that half. I don't need it. Or he says, keep everything. I don't need it. And Allah said, وَأَن تَعْفُوا, to forgive is better. It's closer to the taqwa. But you are entitled to half of the mahar before the nikah is consumed if he walks away from this nikah. If you walk away and change your mind, you are not entitled to anything. Similarly, even after the consummation of marriage, No, after consummation of marriage, then we are talking about khula' versus divorce. We'll talk about it later on. That becomes khula'. If he divorces, he will keep the whole mahar. If you ask for al-khula', what is the hukm? ونتكلم عنها لاحقا. But right now we are talking about أحكام الخطوبة. Now, how much time do we have? 7. Do we have questions? Do you have questions? Let me take some questions. Can you check if you have questions? Because I still have the wedding, I still have الولي.
بالنسبة لموضوع هنا في فلسطين والدول كثير عندهم المقدم والمؤخر. بعض الدول
خلينا نتكلم عن هذا موضوع مهم. لا صلى الله عليه وسلم. خلاص خلينا نتكلموا عن المقدم والمؤخر. Let's talk about the concept of the deferred. تفضل.
يجوز للعروس انها تشترط شيء في العقد.
الشروط في النكاح. نعم هذه was part of today. ما تتزوج زوجة ثانية مثلا. نعم خلينا نتكلم عنه. المقدم والمؤخر. أولا هذا ليس من السنة. This is the first thing I would like you to know. It did not exist in the time of Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم anything called مقدم and مؤخر. There was mahar, one time shot, based on the ability of people. There were some norms, practices. There was urf, custom. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not put limit to mahar. وإن أردتم استبدال زوج مكان زوج وآتيتم إحداهن قنطارا فلا تأخذوا منه شيئا. So there is no limit in how much the lady can ask for mahar. You can ask $1 million. You can ask $1 billion. Technically, if you can afford it. But there is no limit in how much you can ask. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not put a limit. But Allah also taught us, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us that أقلكن مهورا أكثركن بركة. The less mahar, the more barakah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put in your marriage. And في المشرق بشكل عام, بلاد المشرق, and please take this with an open heart, you have this issue of المغالاة في المهور. You have a lot of exaggeration in المهر. I visited so many places, for example, Malaysia, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, North Africa. We don't have this issue, by the way. Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, we have very reasonable mahar. Like, if I tell you what was my mahar, you will be shocked. But way, 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 way less than you could perceive, right? So you have mughalat fil mahar as a crisis. And it is not Islamic. Technically, you can ask, but it has shu'um in this. لأنه it takes away from al-barakah. And Nabi Sallallahu said, the more mahar, the more you exaggerate, the less barakah. So keep that in mind. That's number one. Number two, the concept of muqaddam and mu'akhar, I would like to give you a background. How did it start? It's not prophetic. It's not in the time of Khulafa al-Rashidin. It's only the early generation. When did this mu'akhar and muqaddam started? Started probably in the 4th or the 5th century. And it started that people would like to make the husband take the marriage more seriously. I think even later than the 4th century. Well, I don't remember. But it started much later than the early generations. To have the husband more committed. Like you ask X amount of gold or cash as mahar, and you give some phenomenal number for later on to tie the husband. If you dare to divorce, if you dare to walk away from this marriage, then you have this mountain on you, this commitment that is too much. You cannot away, so you are stuck. And of course, the society did that to resolve problem, not knowing it created a deeper problem and more complicated problem, right? كل مرة كل ما ابتعدنا عن الدين سبحان الله كل ما ابتعدنا عن الدين كل ما ابتعدنا عن السنة كل ما عقدنا حياتنا أكثر. أبدا ليس الحل في مخالفة السنة. Every time you think the solution to solve problem in doing things against the sunnah, you are going to create a deeper problem. Did it resolve the issue? From one perspective, it might, right? Are there husbands who are abusive or not serious or they don't take care of their wives in the divorce? That might be the case. There are other ways to resolve these issues, not necessarily money. Marriage is not business. You are not selling your daughter. This is a marriage. You are not buying and selling. This is symbolic. This is symbolic. It shouldn't be like I know in so many cultures. I lived in Syria. I lived in Arabia. People and tribes and cultures, they brag. My daughter's mahar was 50,000. My daughter's mahar was this. And they see that as a... Wallahi, in Algeria, we see that as a shame, by the way. We are ashamed of these numbers. And this is, if we have any good things in our culture, is this. Alhamdulillah. We have so many bad things. But we are proud at least of this. We are ashamed of these numbers. Like people who ask for big money, we look down at them in the society in Algeria. Whether we are religious or non-religious. We think of them that they are selling their daughters, which is what should be the case. That is the Islamic perspective for looking at these things. Now, I don't want to take much of this. I would like to focus on to answer the question. Now, people start giving these racket numbers to hold man responsible. We have to find mechanisms to do that. But what did they create? Now, when you put me or you tie me with these 100,000, 50,000 racket numbers, if I would like to walk away, what do I end up doing? Who can tell me? What do I end up doing? أيوة. أنا ما بدي نطلق لأنه لو نطلق شو راح أعطي؟ A lot of money. What do I end up doing? نسود لها حياتها. يعني أجعل حياتها جحيم. I will make her life hell until she asks for divorce. And then when she asks for divorce, she needs to give me back. So you see how, as we are trying to resolve problem, we create more ta'asa in the household. We created more hell in our marriages. Because that's not the way to resolve this issue. Right? And that goes both ways. And the wife, this is what men do, and I know so many men who do that, unfortunately. This is jarima, this is crime. But also at the same time, ladies, they would like to do khula. But they know if they do khula, they don't get much, or they need to give part of the mahar. So what they end up doing? They make their husband's life hell, so the husband will do divorce, and they get away with this. Both ways are crimes. We are playing game with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't know that we are going to pay the price. This is haram income. It's like selling alcohol. It's like stealing money. You cannot cheat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can cheat me. You can cheat your wife. You can cheat your husband. But you cannot cheat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah knows what's in your heart. So be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, explicitly to answer the question, al-mahar al-muqaddam al-mu'akhar. So al-mu'akhar, technically, you can do mahar mu'akhar. It's not haram. Because from Imam Ahmad was asked about, can you defer part of al-mahar to later stage? He said yes. Imam Shafi'i said yes. Let's say you want me to give you 1,000 dinar. But I can only offer right now 500 and I can give you another 500 in a year. That's allowed. But you are talking about something reasonable. Right? Whether it is all at once, whether it's mu'akhar and muqaddam, part of it now, part of it later. If it is within reason, it is okay. But it's not prophetic, it's not part of the sunnah. But there is nothing wrong in having muqaddam and mu'akhar. What is wrong is these numbers that have nothing to do with Islam. And we have a culture who is promoting this. Like we are bragging and tafakhur. Like the more mahar, the more status, the more مش عارف, the more maqam, and the more this is not Islamic. This is not Islamic, and this is creating so many problems in the household. So we are not protecting our daughters in doing that. And how many fathers asked for a lot of money? Did they preserve the marriage of their daughters? No, it's a hell. Why? It's not, you are not protecting your daughter by asking $100,000 mu'akhar. That's not how you protect her. You protect her by choosing the right husband in the first place. Somebody who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz says, I will marry. By the way, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, imagine Umar ibn Abdul Aziz Amir al-Mu'mineen. First of all, he was Amir before he became Amir al-Mu'mineen, and then he became Khalifa and Amir al-Mu'mineen. And as a Khalifa, imagine the people who are going to propose to his daughter. Just think a moment and think of who is going to propose to his daughter. Amir al-Mu'mineen. Like Bani Umayyah, like from the royal family, they were chasing his daughter. And one day he was discussing, him and his wife Fatima, and she was also a righteous wife. And he says, I will marry my daughter to somebody who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَإِنْ أَحَبَّهَا أَكْرَمَهَا وَإِنْ كَرِهَهَا لَمْ يَظْلِمْهَا. I will give my daughter to somebody who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he loves her, he will honor her. He will celebrate her. And if he doesn't like her, he will not oppress her. He will not abuse her. Not because he's afraid of the $100,000. Not because he's afraid of me. Because he's afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has religious taqwa, wazi' dini that governs his life. We think of tribes and the business and the mahar, but religious investigation, the taqwa, the wara', the kada, we do very little investigation about it. We are not interested in it. And then we complain why our marriages are not working out. So al-mu'akhar, it is not necessarily haram. It is not the best practice. Technically it is allowed. But nasiha that al-muharat fil ghulu, المغالاة في المهور شؤم. شو يعني شؤم بالإنجليزية؟ شو يعني شؤم؟ شؤم يعني it's a bad luck. It's not. Don't be so happy with it. Yeah, it has a negative consequence. Don't be so happy about it. Don't be proud of it. تفضلي.
Associate with divorce now. I always thought it was part of the mahar and it's supposed to be given throughout, but no, we just associate it.
That's wrong. That's wrong. حتى الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله، الإمام الشافعي وهو مذهبكم، وأنا مستغرب أنتوا كيف لما تعطوا المهور you give a particular date to be paid or just in divorce؟ نعم، مربوط بالطلاق. هذا ليس مذهب الشافعي، هذا مذهب الإمام أحمد بالمناسبة. مذهب الشافعي, in Shafi'i school, you have to give a specific time in what you are giving. You have to say, I will give you al-mu'akhar in 2 years. You have to give a deadline. You cannot link it with divorce or death. In Madhab Shafi'i, you have to say 2 years or 10 years or 10 months. You have to give a time. المعروف عرفا كالمشروط شرطا. يعني من ناحية أنه نعم المعروف عرفا كالمشروط شرطا، أنه نعم المقدم المؤخر عرف، احنا ما عندنا مشكل. The concept of المقدم المؤخر, the concept of المغالاة في المهور, this is the problem. ما في مقدم ومؤخر. احنا عندنا one time mahar. One time mahar is very humble, very modest. and المغالاة في المهور هذه ظاهرة مشرقية، ظاهرة بلاد الشام بشكل عام عندها هذه الظاهرة، لكن مش موجودة في أكثر البلاد الإسلامية. لو تروح إلى المسلمين في ماليزيا، إندونيسيا، الهند، باكستان، المسلمين في شمال إفريقيا، ما عندنا هذا ظاهرة المغالاة في المهور. هذه ظاهرة موجودة في المشرق الإسلامي، لكن من ناحية فقهية there is nothing wrong in having مقدم and مؤخر, right? Though it is not the prophetic practice, it is not in the early generation. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال أعطها ولو خاتما من حديد. When this lady came and she was interested to get married and somebody said, Ya Rasulullah, I would like to marry her. He said, do you have something to give it to her? And then, long story short, he said, give her, even if it is a ring of hadid, of iron, give her something. You have to give her something. So you have to give something, al-mahar. But the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also said, أَقَلُّكُنَّ مُهُورًا أَكْثَرُكُنَّ بَرَكَةً. The less you ask, the more barakah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put. And we have to facilitate al-halal. Like if we'd like our children to get married early, we are complicating marriage. We are asking so much. Not only al-mahar. There is, inshallah, today we are running out of time. Next class we'll talk about weddings and these expectations in ceremonies and this and that. We are making al-haram difficult. And we are facilitating, we are making al-halal difficult. In the same time, al-haram is so easy. So easy. It's not supposed to be like that. We are supposed to facilitate al-halal. Right? Al-ma'ruf urfan, as long as it doesn't cause damage. But if it causes damage, as we see in so many times, sometimes you have to challenge al-urf. Again, from fiqh, technical perspective, you could still have muqaddam mu'akhar. But why don't I ask for 3,000 muqaddam and 5,000 mu'akhar? That's reasonable, right? I'm just throwing numbers. Why do I ask 50,000 mu'akhar? I have a friend of me من الأردن عزمني على عرسه في لوس أنجلوس قال لي المؤخر تبعي اشترط على 50,000. يعني جنون. وقلت له قبلت؟ قال لي نعم. قلت له إذا أنت مجنون. 50,000 مؤخر، يعني شو هذا العبث هذا؟ يعني ليش؟ يعني من ناحية شرعية there is no limits. There is no limits. Like, can a woman ask for 100,000? Yes. Because Allah said qintar. When it's becoming competition. Like we showing muscles through asking mahar. Like we are more noble of a family, of a tribe, of a a'ila, because our muhur is that and your muhur is that. This is a very, very sad. تفضل. نعم. نعم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. Subhanallah. It's indication. Subhanallah. I didn't pay attention to this. Like, this is a very interesting reflection. But in any case, مقدم المؤخر لا حرج فيه، لكن بدون مغالاة في المهور يا جماعة. سهلوا الحلال. المؤخر لا يعني راح يضمن مستقبل بنتك. اللي يضمن مستقبل بنتك هو الله سبحانه وتعالى. هو أنك تختار الزوج الصالح لبنتك وزوج يتقي الله. Now, financial security, we have to have a system for it without exaggeration. Financial security, there are so many ways we think of financial security. مش بالضرورة للمغالاة في المهور. Anyway, at least this is a discussion has to happen in the community. We have to shake this status quo in the community. نعم. لازم نختم. نعم. 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 No, it is okay to have مؤخر, but give it a particular. مثلا قولي لزوجك أنا أعطيني 5,000 الآن ومثلا 5,000 مؤخر بعد 10 سنوات مثلا. أو save money 5 years and give me $10,000, another $10,000. That's fine. Why link to divorce? Imam Ahmad, he's fine with linking it to divorce. But I find it very. You are entering a beautiful project with a bad faith. Why? Why? If we get divorced, I get $100,000. لا حول ولا قوة. Yeah, it's. I see it. I know it's a culture, but I don't see it as a healthy. Is it haram? Not necessarily if it is well practiced, but it's not always well practiced.
It's hard to break traditions, but I feel like there's someone that has to talk to the elderlies of our
No, you have to start. We cannot change old people mentality. We need to change. You need to, as a young lady, as a young man, Baba, I'm fine with $5,000 mahar. That's fine. I don't need muakhar. That's fine. Right? Abu al-Qaqa will be upset, but it's okay. It's okay. نعم, تفضل. That, yes. Yes. In Shafi'i is that دين بمعنى and it has to have أجل. خليني أقول لكم شيء. عند المذهب الشافعي, and I'm surprised how you practice this. I can verify it more in المذهب الشافعي. لكن أنا الذي أذكره من المذهب الشافعي أنه إذا كان المؤخر لا يؤجل بأجل يلغى ويعطى للمرأة مهر المثل. هذا الذي أذكره من المذهب الشافعي. يعني if المؤخر is not given a due date, then it is cancelled, and the qadi will give the lady a mahar, muqaddam muakhar, total. What is the practice in the society? Well, let's say total it should be 20,000. You already gave her 10,000, now give her 10,000. Whether muakhar was 100,000 or it was 1,000, it will be cancelled in Shafi'i school if it is not given a due date. هذا الذي أذكره من المذهب الشافعي. عند الإمام أحمد, so your practice is more aligned with the Imam Ahmad school. Yeah. I'm talking about the Palestinian community. In المذهب الشافعي الذي أذكره والله أعلم أنه يجب تحديد أجل للمؤخر. أنتم عندكم المحاكم الشرعية في فلسطين ما تعطي أجل للمؤخر؟ غريب. يا خير إن شاء الله. على كل حال لازم نختم نروح نصلي العشاء. نختم اليوم إن شاء الله تعالى. يكون عندنا موعد آخر ونكمل هذا المشوار إن شاء الله تعالى. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.